Modu and Tijesu Adioya standing by to give us insights to FCT brief this morning. Good morning, Nakwana.
Good morning, Emmanuel. It's good to hear from you this morning, and happy Friday.
Yeah, good morning, and good Friday to every one of us. Now, TJ, that was a classical judgment yesterday.
Yes. So let's dissect it.
Let's dissect. Let's go into what we have.
All right. Good morning and welcome to FCT Brief, where we break down the major issues shaping Nigeria's political and legal and security landscape. Today, one issue towers above the rest: the conviction of Nnamdi Kanu on alleged terrorism charges, a development that has once again reopened national conversations about justice, agitation, and the delicate balance between state security and citizens' rights. This latest judgment has not only sparked intense debate within legal and political circles, but it has also raised fresh questions about due process, extraordinary rendition, judicial consistency, and the broader implication for peace in the Southeast region. As reactions continue to pour in from supporters, critics, and various interest groups, Nigerians are demanding clarity. What exactly does this conviction mean, and what should the nation expect next?
Beyond the legal arguments, the matter carries significant political weight. It speaks to the dynamics of federal authority, national cohesion, and the handling of separatist agitation in a democratic society. How the government manages this movement could influence public trust in the justice system, reshape narratives around insurgency and dissent, and set a precedent for the future high-profile cases. To help us look into these issues and provide informed perspective, we are joined this morning by a distinguished Nigerian, Abdul Aziz Tafawa Balewa, elder statesman and former presidential aspirant. He will be offering his insights on the legal, political, and national security dimensions of the Nnamdi Kanu's conviction. Also joining us via Zoom from Lagos is a lawyer, Lawyal Olu Akanbi. Thank you both for coming on the show this morning.
You're welcome.
Let's start with you, Mr. Abdul Aziz. Now, Abdul Jalil Tafawa Balewa. Let's start with you this way. Now, with the judgment yesterday, it's become a classical judgment on terrorism charges. There's been different reactions from politicians, from lawyers, and all that. Now, what's your thoughts on these judgments?
Well, this is a very delicate situation. One, dissent in any form to a nation is disturbing. I mean, it disturbs the fabric of that nation. That is one. In this case, so many people have died over time. There was so much disruption in the court yesterday. It was disgusting, I thought. Now, I don't want to give my personal feelings on this as yet, but I think that the whole scenario is a little bit dangerous for our nation, and it should be curbed as it's been done now. Now, maybe the sentences are a little bit harsh. Maybe. I don't know. I've never been a lawyer. I'm a medical doctor. However, punishment need to be meted out for sins committed. And that's where we are.
Okay, let's go to Mr. Akanbi for the legal aspect of things. Mr. Akanbi, given the long history of amended charges, jurisdictional arguments, and conflicting appellant rulings, do you believe that the court applied the law consistently, or does this judgment signal a shift in how the state wants the case to end?
Well, thank you very much. It is important for us to note that the judgment delivered yesterday by Justice James Omotosho was not only classical. It is the best that we have seen in the annal of this country, in the history of this country. Now, Terrorism Prevention Act 2022 empowers the Federal High Court, gives the Federal High Court the exclusive jurisdiction. And the judge, in his discretion, applied what the law says. The law says that whoever commits terrorism shall either be sentenced to life imprisonment or death. And the court was clear about it. The court actually said, well, that is no longer a thing that people should celebrate. Rather, life sentence should be the way out. So the court was clear about it, and that's the way it should be.
Now, let me still stay with you on the judgments yesterday at the Federal High Court. There have been several reactions to that judgment, even from the political circles, saying that they were going to explore political solution. When a judgment has been handled by a high court, would you say that political solution is now needed, considering the fact that justice has been dispensed on that particular matter? What does it speak of us if we now begin to talk about political solution to a judgment that has just been delivered?
Well, the court is functions officials as it is now. The only thing that is available to Kanu is appeal, right? Now, political solution. If we start looking at the option of getting Kanu out of this quagmire, out of this particular scene, through political intervention, are we encouraging more people to go into the same act? The fact still remains this, that political solutions ought to have been done before the judgment was rendered, before the judgment was delivered. Because now, if we want to approach this so that Nnamdi Kanu, okay, are we looking at the fact that they should approach the president for mercy, and another person will look at that angle that, well, Nnamdi Kanu got away with it. Why not? If I go through the same route, I also get away with it. So it's neither here nor there. So it's important for us to know that whatever we do after the judgment was delivered is very, very important for this nation to ensure that whoever has such mindset, whoever is scheming or planning to do such, will not be able to follow that route again. So, what do? Do we allow Kanu to follow the route of appeal, or want to go to political solution to approach the president for presidential pardon? Then what then are we looking at? Are we encouraging?
All right, let's come back to you, Mr. Abdul Jalil.
I'm a doctor.
Dr. Abdul Jalil, I beg your pardon. Well, for years, Kanu's defense has accused the government of violating due process, extraordinary rendition, and disobeying previous court orders. Now, did his legal team strengthen his case, or did the inconsistent arguments and frequent walkouts weaken his credibility in the eye of the courts?
I'm looking at it from a layman's perspective. Does your freedom of speech impinge on my liberty? Does your freedom of speech impinge or restrict my safety? These are questions that you need to ask. And just like the learned gentleman on the other side said, if we consistently allow this type of thing, I mean, what exactly? I honestly don't really understand what is fighting for and about, except that he wanted to create a state of Biafra. As a patriot, we've been advocating this for quite some time, that we set up Nigeria in a more convenient way of almost like a confederation. We haven't gotten there yet. But I don't think whatever it is that you want for yourself should cost my life. So many people died in the Southeast in this. so many were taken as prisoners for a long time. Why? Because of your freedom of speech? We need to rethink these things.
All right, Barrister Oluwale, let me come back to you on this particular matter. With this judgment that was given by the High Court, does that set a watershed on how such cases should be handled in future? I mean, terrorism charges should be handled in future. It's Nnamdi Kanu now. And does that also give a tone to how decisive the states will be in dealing with those who are questioning the integrity of the Nigerian nation?
Well, thank you very much. You see, it's imperative for us to note that there must always be a precedent. Now, the judgment delivered yesterday will be a classical precedent for a lot of courts, a lot of people to take a leaf from. Because this is to also state categorically that this country is not a heaven for terrorism. This country is not a heaven for inciting the people against the government, that this country is not a heaven for those that feel that they can just take the laws into their hands. So I think this judgment will go a long way to tell whoever has such mindset, whether group or individual, to know that this country will not tolerate it.
Let me come to you, Mr. Akanbi, right? Yeah. All right. The IPOB activities has long shaped security temperatures in the southeast. How do you think this verdict would likely impact the region, especially in terms of the sit-at-home order, the security situation, and all of that? Do you think that this is going to be received well by the people, or should we expect heightened tension from that region?
Well, you see, the issue is more of those that have suffered greatly will definitely see this as a good development. A lot of people have died. A lot of businesses have been shut down, all because of this particular agitation. If you ask a single person, a man who has lost somebody, who has lost a child, who has lost a wife, or who has lost a relative, now what does this judgment amount to? The person will tell you this is the best thing that could ever happen. If you ask anybody in that axis who has lost businesses, now what does this amount to? He will celebrate this. So I think it's important for us to understand that violence is...
Yeah, I'd like to come back to you with that question, Dr. Abdul Jalil. How do you think that this will be received in the Southeast?
I should give you a preface to that. One of the worst things that happened to Nigeria is the removal of history as a subject in schools. Because when you use a machete on a tree and you use a pen on yourself, then you'll understand the type of pain that tree may feel. We need to know, you see, we haven't done much with our history. There's a huge generation gap between knowledge for people my age group and the younger ones. If they know what happened before to create what Nnamdi Kanu is brewing now, people will sit back and think. Right now, because he's been rude in the court, he's speaking very harshly and with a lot of vitriol to people that others consider alien to them or their wishes. He will seem to be doing okay. But as the learned gentleman said, you know, people that have lost their children, husbands, wives, businesses will not feel, will be extremely happy, just like they were when the other gentleman was sentenced in Finland.
Now, Dr. Abdul Jalil, let me just stay with you on this. The question is, with this judgment that was given, what kind of a burden will it place on the states in helping to educate the people? Especially the Southeasterners, to educate them on how to coexist with everyone, because such a decision came from probably a faulty mindset. And how do we educate that mindset, especially the younger generation?
One, for the Southeasterner, they really don't need to be educated on that. There's no part of this country that you can go to, the smallest of villages. My mother used to say, if you cannot find an Igbo man, leave. So Southeasterners are well spread throughout the nation, even though I support the idea that there should be homogeneity in education, but Southeasterners especially don't need to relearn this. Everybody, this is a federation. Every part of this country belongs to all of us. When that happens throughout the nation, when you can go to the Southwest and you're free, you go to the Southeast, you can do your business without being hindered, then we will have the Nigeria of our dreams. But until that time, you cannot say, give me this, but I will not give you anything. I don't want to go deeper than that.
Well, Mr. Akanbi, there are already allegations of bias from the ruling on admissibility of evidence to speed up yesterday's ruling. Did the judge demonstrate impartiality throughout that proceeding? Because there's also the bias of ethnicity coming in play. Would you say Justice Omotosho did justice?
I would not know where that is coming from, because what we witnessed yesterday is a complete altruism. The judge was completely absolved of any form of bias. How? Where did the bias come from? That he did not commit the offenses that he was alleged to have committed? Where did the bias come from? That he did not incite people against the government? Where did the bias come from? That he did not tell the ESN people to kill military officers or security agents? Come on, people, let's be factual. Let's be honest with ourselves. This young man, as described by the court yesterday, is a very, very arrogant and a non-recalcitrant person who is not ready. He wasn't even showing remorse. He was ready to bring down the court yesterday. That was the court. So tell me what could have happened in the absence of everybody. So what are we saying? Where would the bias come from? I mean, we should be honest with ourselves. When things happen in this country, we should take away the aspect of so-called bias or so-called ethnicity. We should take it out and address the facts. The man ran foul of the law of the land, and the law caught up with him, and the court of competent jurisdiction ruled and gave a very, very sound judgment. So I don't think there is any bias from anywhere.
Okay, let me stay with you on this issue. A lot of political leaders from the Southeast, like we said earlier, are already considering exploring political solutions. Now, does that place a burden on our leaders, especially those from the Southeast, on how they handle such issues so that their people don't become too restive? And also, what message does that send to other those picked up for terrorism in Nigeria? Is it that justice is coming closer to them this time around, if it has come on Kanu?
You see, to be very honest with you, whatever any group of people may decide to do at this moment, political option or what have you, they need to understand the fact that whatever they do will send a message. Whatever option, political result that they are coming with would send a message either to encourage more people to follow the path of Nnamdi Kanu or to say that, well, this is not a path to follow. Because whatever anybody decides to do in terms of political option, to speak to the president or whoever, so that Nnamdi Kanu can be let off the hook, trust me, it will not speak well. It is not in the interest of this nation. It is not in the interest of the people of the Eastern Nigeria. Because if any political result or option is actually used to skim Nnamdi Kanu off this hook, other people will follow suit.
Now, as we wrap up this conversation, Dr. Abdul Jalil, there are some people commenting online saying that this case was already decided before yesterday's judgment, whatever that means. Now, let's look at the options available to Nnamdi Kanu. He's already pushing for an appeal. Do you think he has a chance at that appeal?
No, I think his best way forward is to go through the judiciary, like you said, to go through an appeal, and he'll find out that all the evidence against him still stands. Then he can move to the Supreme Court.
And what does that say about the trust in the judiciary itself?
I think that that route should be exhausted, because then other people will get to know, just like the lawyer said, that this is not what we want. Too many Nigerians died. Too many Nigerians died on both sides during the war, the Civil War. Too many Nigerians died during Nnamdi Kanu's exercise. We don't need, this is the only country we have. I must insist, we don't need any of this. So he can pursue the legal option. I think it will be wrong for politicians to step into this, because it will give very bad ideas to others that are trying to be recalcitrant in the future.
Okay, Mr. Olawale, let me stay with you on this. A lot of people have said that de-radicalization of terrorists is not a good way to go. With this conviction, what message again do we send to whether it is Boko Haram, ISWAP terrorists that are being picked up? Should we go the full weight of the law to get them to justice?
Thank you very much. Yes, this is the way to go. Let's use this as a litmus test. Let people get to know that, see, terrorism, violence will no longer be condoned in this country. The days of you arrest and you take somebody to court and the next thing, if the person is out and all that, is over. Let this be used to send message to those that are in the business of terrorizing innocent Nigerians, of disturbing the peaceful nation, of disturbing the peaceful coexistence of this country, that this nation is not a safe haven for them anymore. Let this judgment be used to tell even the collaborators, the sponsors of different kinds of criminality in this nation, that if they are caught, the law, the full weight of the law will be used against them.
Very
This
quickly.
is the best way we can do about it.
Very quickly, Mr. Akanbi, before people like this can come, because they can't work alone, they will have to work with a group of people. And before you can convince a group of people to align with you, they have to have a sense of marginalization. Now, this section of people already have that sentiment that they're being marginalized. They don't feel part of the country. How do you advise government to also bring these people closer to feel like a part of the country so that they don't easily get swayed by people like Nnamdi Kanu? Very quickly, in 30 seconds.
Yes. Yes. You see, the way out is talk to them, engage them. Engage them. Talk to them. Reach out to them. Address their issues. Address their needs. Address their questions. Let them understand they are not alone. They are not alone. Address them. Talk to them. Not to radicalize them, not to ensure that, not to put them in a path of becoming violent and all that. No, engage them. Let them understand the need that this country needs to be together. We don't have to engage violence or go through violence before we can pass our message or get our agitations achieved.
All right, Dr. Abdul Jalil, would you like to add to that in 30 seconds?
Yes. For an instance, most of my friends are Igbos. Not one of them have this type of thought like Nnamdi Kanu. They're not, I mean, there's no place in Nigeria that you will not find an Igbo man or woman doing their businesses the best way they can. It will be good if we can have homogeneous reciprocity where Nigerians can go into the Southeast and do as well as Southeasterners do in other parts of the country.
All right, gentlemen, we must say thank you so much for your contributions on the program, Mr. Akanbi. It was a pleasure speaking with you, and also Dr. Abdul Jalil. Thank you for joining us on the program again. It's a delight speaking with both of you.
Thank you for having me.